Hi ladies and gentlemen, I believe you guys have watched the previous video, practiced a few examples, and that is why you're clicking to this video. If no, I highly suggest go back, finish that exercise, and if you guys are already a master at this, then welcome to today's video where I'll be covering expanding brackets. This is another GCSE topic, but who cares? It's there in our textbook, we're supposed to do it, so yeah, let's get this done. Now, I won't be explaining you the definition of what is meant by expanding brackets. Instead, we'll just start working on a few problems that I have here. And yeah, let's see where we go. So here I have x plus 5 times x plus 2. Now, this is a relatively simpler example, so I don't think there's much in this, but what I like to do is basically, I like to kind of like pretend that the second term does not exist just yet. And what I'm gonna do is I'll just take this one term, multiply it with this, and keep this sign, and multiply this term with this. Do not confuse it and use this sign. Please no, just don't do that. So yeah, we'll just bring this into action and see how it looks. So here we have x times x, which gives us x squared, plus, that means I'm keeping this sign, like the sign over here, plus 2x. Now what I'm gonna do is I will just remove that over here, and I'll bring the 5 back. Now what I'll do is I'll take this term, 5, multiply it with x, again keep this sign, and multiply this 5 with 2. So let's just write that down. That's going to become 5x plus 10. Now you guys are wondering, what am I supposed to fill in this gap in here? Now is the time that I'll consider this one, like this sign over here. Here we have a plus sign. So while I'm expanding the brackets, you notice that I was considering this sign, the sign in the second bracket only, right? And then when I was done with these part, and when I had two separate expressions for these two terms, that was when I brought back this sign and I kept it in the middle. So now I'll just like simplify this and write it again. That becomes x squared plus 2x plus 5x plus 10. And if I simplify this, I get x squared plus 7x plus 10. So what did I do here? I just collected these like terms together and I added them. I got 7x over here. X squared was as it is. I had nothing other with x squared, and I had a constant 10 which I wrote here. So this was easy. That was the first example. If you are done with this, then let's move to the second. So let's work on the second example. Now this is again from the textbook. This is nothing that I have created on my own. Now I understand what you guys are thinking. You guys are like, why do we have a y in a family of x? And this kind of like triggers a error like feeling, but don't worry guys, this is how it was given. So that is nothing new. We'll just again use the same thing. We'll look at this first bracket, and what I'll do is I will again assume this term does not exist for me just yet, and I will only deal with this term, multiply it here, take this term, multiply it here. So I'll put that in action, and x times x squared is x cubed. Now if you guys are wondering why, that's why I told you go back, watch the previous video and come. If you don't understand it, here's a small thing. So in the previous video, what we discussed was that if we have x, which is a variable, I'm trying to multiply it with another variable, like it's the same variable but it has a different power. I'll just put 1. This is raised to 1. What we learned was that in those cases we're going to keep the same variable x over here, but what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and add these powers together, and that will give me x cubed. So yeah, I hope that's clear. Now let's work on this. Now again I'll keep this sign, so that becomes x cubed plus x times 1 here. This is x times 1. That gives me x. Now what I'll do is I'll take this 2y, just overwrite it for now, I'm sorry. But yeah, here we have our 2y, and I'll take this 2y, multiply it with x, keep this sign, take this and multiply it with 1. So I'll write 2x squared y. Yeah, that is how you write it. You keep the x squared first, that's your priority, and then you put y. So yeah, that is exactly what it becomes. And also one thing here, because the sign that you can see is not positive, it's a negative. So what I'll assume is that this negative goes along with 2y. So that's negative 2y. So here I'll just put negative 2x squared y. And this minus 2y times 1 gives me minus 2y. Now, if I had to write this term again, can I simplify this any further? The answer is no. This is the best I can do. There's no further way of collecting any like terms because there are no like terms. So yeah, this will be the final answer. I have another example for you, but this one is a bit different because instead of having the standard two term kind of brackets, here I've got 3 terms with a bracket. But once again, we'll go back, use the same methodology. In this bracket, I'll assume this term does not exist for me just yet. So I'll just take this x, give and multiply this with 3x, take this x, multiply it with minus 2y, take this x, multiply it with minus 4. So let's bring that to action. X times 3x gives me 3x squared. X times minus 2y is going to give me minus 2xy. X times minus 4 is going to give me minus 4x. Now what I'll do is I'll bring the y term back, and now I'll just take this y and multiply it with 3x. I'll just add a plus sign already. That's going to give me 3xy. And then y times minus 2y is going to give me minus 2y squared. And again, y times minus 4 is going to give me minus 4y. So this time I have a lot of like terms, I guess. So I'll just write 3x squared as it is because I have no other term. Then minus 2xy and plus 3xy, they belong to the same category. They've got xy as their variables. So I'll just simplify this. I've got plus 3xy and minus 2xy. That's going to give me positive xy, right? Then I'll write minus 4x as it is because I don't have anything else that I can put over here. Then I can put back minus 2y squared minus 4y. So now once again, this is the maximum that I can simplify because I cannot simplify this any further because I don't have any other like terms. So you kind of like get the idea of how we are working through it. We always go back to the first bracket. Okay, we see how many terms there are. Let's say if I had another term over here, like something like plus 2 and stuff, then what I'll do is I'll again focus on each term one by one. I'll take this first term and I'll multiply this with all 3. Then I'll take the second term and I'll multiply with all 3 of them. And if I had a third term, I'll go ahead and multiply it with all 3 of them. So yeah, I hope that was clear. Now in this last example that I have for you guys, in here the question says 2x minus 3y the whole cubed. Now I understand that many of you have learned an identity in your GCSEs where we were taught how to expand cubic expressions. But let me tell you that in the context of year 12, you will be learning better methods which will even teach us how to deal with higher powers of a expression. So that clearly means as of now, we're not gonna go into the identity. Instead, I want you to look at this in a more better sense. So this expression 2x minus 3y the whole cubed can be simply written as 2x minus 3y times 2x minus 3y times 2x minus 3y, because a cubic expression clearly means that I'm repeating a same bracket 3 times. Now what I'll be doing is I am going to focus on these 2 brackets first. Okay, I'll be expanding these 2 brackets in the normal way, and I will assume that the first bracket does not exist for me just yet. So zooming on to these 2 brackets, what I can do is, again, I'll just assume that the second term of my first bracket does not exist, completely ignoring the first bracket right now. Now using my typical method, what I can do is I'll take this 2x multiplied with 2x, giving me 4x squared, and then 2x times minus 3y will give me minus 6xy. Minus 3y times 2x will again give me minus 6xy, and minus 3y into minus 3y will give me plus 9y squared. Now I am going to collect the like terms, which will leave me with 4x squared minus 12xy, and for y squared again it's the only term, so plus 9y squared. So now as you can see, this is what I'm left with as a product of these two brackets. Now I can take this particular answer that I have over here, and then I can also again, now I can consider my first bracket, and if you guys can guess already, I'm going to multiply that one bracket, 2x minus 3y, and I will take this entire thing that I have, which is 4x squared minus 12xy plus 9y squared. Now I assume that you guys have enough experience as of now, so I believe you guys can do this from here, and you can obtain a final answer by collecting the like terms that you are left with. So I hope you guys actually found an answer to that, and yeah, do consider subscribing to my channel to see more amazing videos. Until then, I will see you in the next one.